Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. Over 1,200 duelists descended upon the town of Hartford, Connecticut this past weekend for a chance to get better prizing and side events than the winner of the main event at this year's YCS Hartford. And while it is still funny that side events get a sheet of uncut starlights worth on the low end $10,000, the real news goes to the winner. Congrats to Po Jang from Australia for winning the event with Sky Striker. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say Sky Striker? I meant Mystic Mine. Yes, maining the singular copy of Engage in a playset of the mine, 13-year-old Ray was put to work in those mines. But it's okay because this is Yu-Gi-Oh! And a win's a win. To sum up the duel, I think you need to do no more than take a look at the transcript here. That's 28 turns of drawing and passing between the two players. Oh yeah, this is dueling. Real talk though, the play of not activating Dimensional Barrier in response to the polymerization and just letting them fuse away the actual things they want to use was some serious big brain play, and Po is a very talented player. It's just a shame that Mystic Mine is a card. Hopefully this gets the card hit at long last. This is also an upset for Branded as they missed the three-peat of winning YCSs, and proof that buying a Sky Striker package in 2018 was apparently the greatest financial investment since buying Dante in 2014. Because the decks just don't die. Speaking of the mine, it wasn't only big in the finals. Special mention will go to streamer and YugiTuber MBT, who got a feature match round 1 playing Liberalmancers. After showing just how good the combos and the powerhouse of that deck can be in Game 1, he would go on to play Mystic Mine in Game 2 for a prolonged and inevitable death. And then, brick Game 3. Still funny at least, and made funnier by the fact that apparently his opponent was the best Legends of Runeterra player in the world. Life is scripted, you cannot convince me otherwise. This YCS has had some effect on the secondary market for Yu-Gi-Oh! No real shock in that regard, but most hilariously for Predaplants. Yes, that's right, Predaplants. After some players decided to try their hand with Predaplant branded, Predapractice, a normal spell with only one printing to date, shot up from an average price of about $7 or $8 all the way up to, at its peak, $45 per copy. As to whether or not that was worth it? Well, out of the 32 deck lists that topped, only 4 of them were branded, and if you bought this spell, don't worry, because it's getting a reprint in Legendary Duelist Season 3 on July 21st later this year. Oh, and as a little extra tidbit, the YCS was being streamed in a bar near the event, and reportedly the bar would erupt into cheering every time Mystic Mine was activated. You're doing God's work in that bar out there, duelists. You're doing God's work. In future meta news, Splight, the rank 2 engine that is probably going to kill my Paleo Frog deck by banning Totally Awesome, is showing frightening levels of dominance in the OCG. This pie chart shows the breakdown of a Japan Nationals regional qualifiers, with Splight taking 93% of tops, and the only other deck being Eldritch, or as it should really be called, Floodgate.deck. Buy your level 2 engines now, boys and girls. It's looking like this deck's gonna be a menace. In brighter news, we have some hopeful news for the TCG. That's right, another reprint of Forbidden Droplet has been confirmed, this time as an ultra rare in Legendary Duelists Duels from the Deep. This was confirmed when Lithium 2300 pulled 2 copies of the card from the 2 boxes he was given. Will we all be so lucky with our pulls? I really hope so, because I do not want to pay $300 for a playset. I just don't. Still, this is the only real chase card in the set, as beyond this, there's really only the Ghost Rare number 101 Silent Honor Arc, and then a lot of water cards, so it's not like people are going to be yumming it up for those. Here's hoping that it's at least pulled enough and sold enough to be more affordable. If nothing else, $240 for the playset is less than $300, and that is some copium. For new cards, there's plenty of new cards this week, all from the OCG Animation Chronicle 2022. Starting off first with the new Dungeon Dice themed cards. First up is Dimension Dice, a normal spell that lets you tribute a monster to special summon a monster that has a die roll effect from your hand or deck, but in order to activate it, you have to control a card that has a die roll effect. At long last, Snipe Hunter is searchable. The 2007 meta is ready. But if you're not sure exactly which die roll effect card to have on the field, don't worry, you can try out the new Dice Dungeon field spell. It even searches Dimension Dice on activation. Whew. Amazing. At the start of the battle phase, each player rolls a 6-sided die and then applies an attack change to all of their monsters for a result equal to the roll. So if you roll a 1, all your monsters will lose 1,000 attack. 2, all your monsters will gain 1,000 attack. For 3, you'll lose 500. For 4, you'll gain 500. But most hilariously, 5 will cut all monster attack in half, and 6 will double all of your monsters' attacks. And since there's a chance that you'll roll a 6 and the opponent will roll a 5, it almost makes this hilariously underwhelming card worth playing. 2 other one-off cards were revealed for 2 other archetypes, starting first, Performapal Odd Eye Seer, which has the scale effect to target a Performapal or Odd Eyes in your grave and then add it to your hand and destroy itself, and its monster effect can only be used if it's pendulum summoned and then further depends on its battle position. In attack, it lets you banish itself to recover a Performapal or Odd Eyes in the grave, and in defense, it will let you take a Performapal or Odd Eyes monster from your deck to either place it face up in the extra deck or send it to the graveyard. This might be an extra extender or starter of sorts, but more importantly, it's a dude with a mustache and a top hat, and I think that's great. Neos also got support as well, a normal spell that shuffles a elemental hero or Neospatian you control into the deck to summon a monster with a different name from the original, but either a hero or a Neospatian. And in the graveyard, it can be banished to shuffle either an elemental hero and a Neospatian, or one elemental hero Neos into the deck for you to draw a card. A solid piece of support for a deck that will forever struggle with having to play a level 7 vanilla. Best of all, or at least according to me, was the reveal of 7 new Crystal Beast monsters. And none of them are from the structure deck. That's right, the advanced Crystal Beasts from the anime are finally getting their TCG debut, or at least in card game debut, whatever. They're all retrains of the original 7 Crystal Beasts, and each one shares 2 effects. If you don't control Advanced Dark, a field spell printed in support of Crystal Beasts from 2012, they'll immediately destroy themselves, just cosplaying BAs lightly, and if destroyed in a monster zone, they can place themselves face up in the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, much like the original Crystal Beasts. For their unique effects, Carbuncle is the original Ruby Carbuncle perfected, able to summon itself from the spell and trap zone and then summon as many advanced Crystal Beasts from your spell and trap zone as possible. It's very nice, and it still looks like a fucked up Espeon. Amethyst Cat will let all your advanced Crystal Beasts attack directly, but for half damage. Emerald Tortoise remains terrible, but at least more playable than the original, as it has the quick effect to change a monster's battle position. Topaz Tiger will give all your Crystal Beasts 400 attack and defense, and then decrease all your opponent's monsters by 400 attack and defense. Amber Mammoth once per turn can negate an effect that targets an advanced Crystal Beast you control, and once per turn can negate an attack when one of your advanced Crystal Beasts is targeted. Cobalt Eagle can send itself from hand or field to search the Advanced Dark that you will need, and can once per turn target an advanced Crystal Beast you control to either add it to your hand or place it on top of the deck. And lastly, Sapphire Pegasus continues the original's legacy and has the effect to place an advanced Crystal Beast into the spell and trap zone from either your hand, deck, grave, or banished pile, which is more usable than the original, technically. This goes well considering the rumor that the structure deck will have no new main deck monsters for the archetype, or at the very least makes up for that fact. And I hope to God that this deck can at least be playable, because they're kinda cool. Rainbow Dragon. Moving on to community news. In Progression Series news, it's more of the same. One new Cyber Dragon pulled between the 2 of them, another Chaos Mirror, and another Loss for Gage, with predictably more of the same to come in the coming weeks. Most notably, Simo has now taken the lead with a score of 10-9 in his favor, and it's looking like the odds of Gage winning are about the same of him putting Dark Hole into his deck, which according to the last 3 weeks, is 0. In other news, it's Morbin time. Fun fact, that is apparently a Yugi Twitter original, with the community's own Rada apparently being the origin for the term "it's Morbin time." That is not important in the grand scheme of the world, however, it is very important to me that you know that. Get morbed on. And that's about all I've got for you this week, so that wraps it up for the update. As always, I'm your host, Craig Fee, and make sure you subscribe for next week's update and so that you too can become a true duelist.